So when you like want to chill out and zone out, just relax. You're in that subconscious state, okay? And there's multiple different states. Now, technically, it's like a frequency, it's like a radio. You're changing the dial, so it's like analog, right? But I'm going to give you the digital idea of like different layers of the cake. But ultimately, it's all just one big cake. So we can think in the middle is kind of that in-between state of conscious and subconscious. We spend a good amount of our day into it. You're awake. It's like a mild alertness, you can think, right? Then you can think there's an alert state. It's like you're working, you're doing something, you're going to be concentrating. Then there's like hyper focus, like in the zone, like you are a tiger trying to hunt, I don't know, the gazelle or something, right? You're just like super focused. And this is really, it's almost a bit rough on the body because you're like, your body's just, it's running on overdrive, right? But it causes growth. It's like, you lift weights, stronger focus state, and then you relax. And it's like, ooh, then the growth happens physically in the subconscious relaxed state. But the stimulation, the shaping, the where do you want to grow is what happens in the active. Anyway, so then from the middle again down, you have a kind of a relaxed state, which is just kind of when you're chilling a bit. Maybe you're still doing something, or you're just like reading something. There's a little bit of activity, but not really. And then there's like a lower, like you're almost like trying to get to sleep, or you're just kind of like laying there or sitting there just like zoning out. If you're watching something, you're really like maybe into it. You're really just like, you're not even conscious of your body or your thoughts or anything. You're just like accessing the media. Right, so it's important to be able to control and be in both of these states. And you can induce them just by like relaxing or like releasing, going to the lower ones, or kind of tensing a bit and focusing, because again the focus one is more in the mind. It takes you up the spine, up the elevator, right? And the relaxed one is you go down the spine, down into like the the lower whole belly region, the legs, etc. Like that's where in the body it's kind of takes you. So when you are excessively stressed and you feel inflammation, tension, pain, you need to heal, right? You need to decompress. So you need to be in this subconscious state, which is where it's kind of like you work and you get off work, and a lot of people will drink or smoke or eat and just like sit and chill and watch something, right? They need to decompress, they need to relax after a long day. And you need to find ways to do that. You also need to notice if your interests and hobbies are, or things you use to relax are overly stimulating you. I'll go on like Twitter or X, and it's a very stimulating place. It's fun. You learn lots of stuff. You get to talk to weird and interesting people. But it's like, it's a bit too stimulating to relax. It almost stresses me out. Different social medias, you go to a place like 4chan, like it's very stressful, it's very tense. Everyone's like fighting with each other. Everyone's just like angry. And you can find some interesting things, but it's almost like, is it even worth it when it's like that tense and relaxed? And then there's other places, so usually the more relaxing a place can be, you also got to be careful because, poison exists within the water, so to speak, or mixes into the water. So, if it's too relaxing, it's almost like people allow too much bad behavior, almost like in a very subtle, in a very like, oh, I wouldn't want my family to be doing that stuff. Or I wouldn't want to take on those bad habits or routines. And it's like, you just relax, and it's like, oh, you're picking up negative things just by like being there, right? So you gotta be careful on that. Well, when you're more tense, you've got that like shield. Even though sometimes tension can lead to traumas, because that's what it is, like excess trauma, excess tension. You're like a lightning bolt. You get zapped. So really, just like notice when you're in the subconscious state. Notice when you're in that lower, just kind of zoning out state. Notice when you're in that like conscious state that you're focusing, right? And you can focus on different parts of the body, like different organs. Just say if you want to try to heal something physically, you focus on that area and then you relax and you take it to that subconscious state. Usually if something is inflamed, it's just forcefully in that conscious state, right? And it needs to be just like decompressed and relaxed and expanded and opened and allowed to like physically heal. The opposite, you can like forcefully tense a place, to stimulate it, forcefully, bring it to that stimulated state to like activate it. You want to activate the muscles, you want to activate the throat to speak. You can focus there and bring it to that conscious state. Because some people have like a lazy throat, a lazy eye, lazy digestion, you can think. That's the idea of laziness is someone who is always in this subconscious state. It's not always a bad thing, right? It's like if you're always too stimulated, people always call you lazy, and then you're always too stimulated now because you're trying to overcompensate. Now you can never rest, and you never like develop. Through the subconscious state is wealth. It's a physical state, water and earth. The conscious state is the air and fire. It's activity and creativity. You have too much creativity and you don't have any money now. Or you have too much money and you don't have any creativity. It's like you've got to balance the elements. Anyway, I'll leave it with that. Check the links in the description, social commercial stuff, and have a nice day or night. So I think if there's any secret or magic pill to life, it's essentially just whatever you spend your time on, your effort, your energy, and time is what you're going to get good at. Well, actually, we'll get to that. Is essentially that's what your life is, right? If you play a video game like 12 hours a day, that's your life. And the rest of your life kind of falls apart, right? Your house probably isn't very clean, but you probably learn that game and you probably get a bunch of items and like levels and such, right? So it's just whatever you do and continuously do is just like what you get, what you become. I mean, it's really like, it's that simple, right? It's just, if you spend all your time driving, that's just you. You're just always thinking about cars. You're always looking at cars. You're always thinking about like driving tech. I mean, maybe you're a more subconscious person. You're just feeling it all out. But, if you're thinking a lot, then you're thinking about that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, how do you get what you want? How do you navigate your life to something else is essentially just to start doing it. Now that sounds nice and good, but there are some problems. Number one, you probably would have already done that if you could have, which is kind of where we get into the first issue, which is major roadblocks. Now, the body is an analogous representation of your life, more or less meaning your body relates to everything in the world, and the blockages in your body, in your circulation, your organs, trauma, muscle tension blockages, etc., are a direct reflection and representation of the blockages in your life. So you can do things to, like heal the body and nervous system and mind and all that to like unlock things in life, or you can just forcefully try to do something in the world. And, it doesn't have to be in the world, it could be at home, right? Like maybe you have some blockage with gardening, right? You're just really bad at growing things for some reason, and use it every year. Make a garden, it sucks. Gonna make another one, it sucks. Gonna make another one, it sucks a little bit less, right? And you just unlock that blockage in the body. You just become more familiar with it, right? Because every time you make a garden, you're going to figure out new stuff. And every year that passes, you're going to be a better, more educated, hopefully stronger, healthier person. So, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Like, that is the secret sauce. Now, another problem besides roadblocks is that if you spend 10 years doing something, that is not a guarantee that you're going to be good at it. And that's not a guarantee that you're going to achieve what you want. Maybe the blockages are that bad. Maybe they're, the idea of ancestral trauma, ancestral karma, ancestral curses, Someone might be cursing you, who knows? There's all kinds of nonsense going on, right? Just causing resistance to this thing. It's like, oh, you put all your energy into this and it just doesn't work, right? It sucks. Of course, the more you put, you keep just putting more energy, more energy. It's a bit like you will fill up your, or I don't know, like a big bowl with sand. Eventually, grain by grain, you will fill it up. Eventually, it's just going to take a really long time. And the problem is, like, are you gonna die? Are you gonna starve? Are you gonna, like, eventually life kicks in and says, hey, we need to pay the bills. So you can't spend all your time, like, collecting sand to fill up a bowl or whatever, right? Metaphorically meaning, training something to become something or whatever, whatever happens to be that you want to do in life, right? But more or less, to summarize, is that you can play the guitar for 10 years and you might still suck. Now, you're probably going to suck less than someone who's only played it for a year, but the harsh reality is that things aren't always as nice as what they are. But at the end of the day, do you want to play it? Do you have fun playing it? Do you like playing it? Are you okay with maybe sucking a little bit? But at the end of the day, you're still a person who, you've done that for 10 years. You know what a chord is. You know what a scale is. You know how to change the strings, and you know about all the different kinds of guitar. You still, you still can't really. I mean, maybe you can play Stairway to Heaven, and it sounds all right, but maybe there's another song you can't play. I don't know, you struggle playing Thunder Horse. Thunder Horse is actually not that hard to play, but go look that up if you're metalhead. You haven't watched Metalocalypse, Death Clock Thunder Horse, great song. Point being is that you're still going to be the person that other people are going to be like, hey, that's Jim. He plays the guitar. Is Jim making money off it? No. Is Jim, playing on stage? No. But Jim's the guy to go to. If you want to learn guitar or you want to know anything about guitars, you go to Jim. He's just a guitar man, right? So eventually people are just going to see you as that kind of person. Now, of course, depending on the hobby, something like 3D modeling or programming or like electronics, most people don't give a crap. Electronics, maybe if they need to like change a socket or something and they need to change their battery, then you can kind of help them out with that. But certain hobbies are just going to be too abstract that most people won't really care. So unfortunately, you won't be the guitar guy for I don't know, like analytical philosophy or something, unless maybe you find some other weirdo who's into weird things, and you both be weird together and have your little strange conversations about abstract things. But the point being is that you do have to enjoy it. And to circle back into the main point, because I've already really said it, what you do every day becomes of you. I experience this on certain things, let's just say, combined with meditation when I was younger, and it's ever since it's been like the one thing that I can still stand on. Every year, you remember, and it's like, yes, that's 100%. That is it. That is true. That is how life works. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like if you are sick and you need to heal, or you're just tired, I get it, just chill out and rest and just relax through it. But at the end of the day, it's just that thing you want to do, that thing you want to achieve, that thing you want, whether it's an item, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a skill, whether it's I don't know, realization or knowledge or something, you have to interact with it. You have to merge with it, and that's what spending time and energy and money on is. You like being in there, like I currently suck at JavaScript programming because I've spent all my time doing like C and Lua programming, but I know enough programming to kind of understand it, and I just need to suck it. I need to sit there and practice more. I've been lazy. I need to sit there and practice and just keep doing that JavaScript programming so I can make better websites, make some cool features for all of you to, play around with, right? And I've been lazy. I've been putting it off. But once I sit there and I do it and I get angry, well, no, I get frustrated because it's like, what is this? What is this stupid syntax? I have to look up a bunch of things. I have to like keep talking to the AIs to understand this stuff, right? Like I know the basics, but to really get in deep with it, to make the features that I want, I have to sit there in that like mud, in that swamp, and just deal with it, just be there. And then I will learn more and more and more. And that's practically how this stuff works. Anyway, check the links in the description of social commercial stuff, and have a nice day. The older I get, the more I kind of see like time passing me by, and I can start to understand and see why, when you're young and you see people who are like 30 and they still haven't got their life together, or then you see people who are like 50 or 60 and they're like homeless, or they're unmarried, or maybe they're like still a drug addict or something. It's almost like the older you get, the more you can kind of understand how these things can happen, because if you don't fix things when you can, they don't really get, I don't want to say they don't get better per se, because, as long as you are doing good things in your life, things do get better and everything, starts to get a little bit better, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't like focus in on really fixing something, it doesn't change. And we've got all these things, but like they're kind of like, I guess what you would call family karmas, family curses, etc., genetic issues, whatever. Just every family's usually got things that they got to work on, and you, as the child of that family, have to fix those, or they go on to your children, right? And if people don't fix those issues, they never really go away. It's kind of like, imagine if someone doesn't know how to read and write. Some people don't until like later ages. If they never learn it, then they never develop the ability, right? So I've been thinking about like time, and every action I take, I can see like the future trajectory. If I do something, then it's like the future becomes more aligned with that. I can see a future where I achieve something, and if I do the wrong thing, or if I feel ill or weak and I can't like muster the strength to like work or something, like I see this future in my mind where I fail, and I'm still, I don't know, I'm still like 40 years old or something, and like a loser essentially. Yeah. It's like if you just sit around and you want to just dick around on social media or play games or just not handle your responsibilities, things don't really get better. And of course, the issue is, you have to learn a balance between the health of your body and mind and soul, and your, responsibilities and things you want to get done, right? So it's difficult because you can't just be go, 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 go. And, of course, that's what's going to get you there as quick as possible. But if you break down or you start going nuts because all you're doing is just working, it's not really gonna, it's not good, right? So, I don't know, it's like, yeah, every day feels like the same. It feels like I'm in an endless loop. For like nearly 30 years, I've just done the exact same thing. I've lived at the same place. I'm the same person. It's like, I'm kind of wondering, like, when does life change? When does it get good or get better? I think it's partly the era we're in. It's just a difficult era to really start things, to, progress. It's a slow era, right? But it just feels like, like a Groundhog Day kind of thing. It's just the same day over and over again. It's like wake up, eat breakfast, shower, go work if it's a work day, or rest if it's a rest day. It's like come home and then not like maybe get a couple things done, or at home, or just and then just like think and rest and play around a bit. It's just over and over again. Again, I think it's because we're in a Saturnian month right now, so everything just feels slow and drawn out and sluggish. Another interesting thing is I think there's like almost a force of restriction on our lives that you can try so hard to do something. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to travel, right? And I never could. I never had the money. No matter what I did, no matter how much stuff of myself, stuff I sold or tried to get money or whatever, I never could. It was like a force that stopped me. There's like other stuff I had to do here, and now I don't really care as much. I have too many problems here to solve, so I can't really go off and gallivant around, so to speak. But there's like a restricting force that will just restrict you from doing certain things until it's almost like until you are over ready, if you get what I mean. As in, it doesn't wait till you're ready, it waits till you're like beyond ready. It waits till it's like too late almost. I don't know, that's what I've found. Till things are a little bit like you don't really even care anymore. It's a bit like once you stop caring it, but even sometimes that's not how things work. I think that relates to all this stuff. As in, like, if just say you want to achieve something or do something, you have to like figure out in your day how to slowly. It's like you're in a ship, a boat, right? And you have to slowly pull the nose of the boat, turn it to the direction to another island, and the island is far off in the distance. It could be days, months, years, weeks, who knows. And it's just slowly every day you do something that kind of pulls you towards that. It's like lines in time. I'm imagining someone like skating with like a board on this line in the air, and there's tons of like PlayStation games we could do that. Weird stuff like that, right? You're like skating on this like metal, I don't know, line thing, and you're trying to jump to the one beside it to like change your world, right? It's a bit like if you have some issue, maybe you have like, I don't know, alcoholism or something, and just every day you drink, every day you keep drinking and you give into it, your future, if you can imagine your future, is you when you're still drinking. But if you like try to stop it, try to control yourself, you slowly change the future trajectory. The line you go on starts to either curve, or eventually you jump onto another one. And I guess I can see in the past, I've done so much, I've cleaned up so much, I've fixed so much of my time, of my life, excuse me, and it almost feels like the past isn't like I've changed the past almost in a weird way. When you change the present, it's like you changed the past, and I guess technically that changes the future. It's the best way I can describe it, where it almost feels like, was the past even real? And I guess you could say the present moment is the only thing that exists. Time is just a measure of growth, of movement, of change. Ultimately, everything only exists in the present moment. Like, in a way, there isn't a past and a future. Of course, there is. You can take a picture and it's that was the past, or you can have a memory of like that was the past, and the future is tomorrow you're gonna wake up and it's gonna be the future, right? Or it's gonna be the present, but right now it's the future. So they do exist, but what I'm saying is there's only ever gonna be the now moment, right? There's only ever gonna be now. And now is like slowly changing into certain things, but it's almost like the now moment, which is like that Groundhog Day cycle of just waking up and doing the same thing over and over again. It tries to protect itself, right? Our fate tries to protect itself, and it feels threatened when you stop doing certain things. As I said, if you stop drinking, it feels threatened and it wants to throw you back to that addiction, because it's almost like it has to reprogram itself, and it has to do a bunch of work. Like it's like the timeline doesn't want to do anything. It's lazy. It just wants to it wants to keep you in like a subconscious daze where you just do the same thing, and then eventually like you die, and it's just over and over again, and then like I don't know, you reincarnate again, and it's like like I'm at the point where it feels like 60, 80, 90 years is probably not a lot. I'm sure people who are like 60, 70, 80, 90 look back on their life and they think, wow, that was almost like yesterday. And of course it was like, yeah, 40 years ago was a long time, but at the same time it wasn't a long time. A year really isn't a long time, right? A year isn't a long time. When you think about it, it's 12 months. Each is about 30 days. A day is just, a day goes by like that, right? Like a day is not that long, and you have a bunch of those, and that's the average lifespan of a human. Of course, I think we can be immortal. That's why it's like the immortals always joke about 100 years going by like that, or 1,000 years going by like that. It's like, I guess when you've lived for 1,000 years, 100 years really isn't much. It's just 10% of what you've already been through. Same way, if you're 100, a year is like a day to a 10-year-old. A 10-year-old, a year is like a long thing, right? At the same, so they do say time goes quicker when you're older. I find it does and it doesn't. Sometimes it feels longer, sometimes it feels shorter. Like 2020 was long, like it felt really long. 2021, 2022 felt really long, but also really like short in a way. Maybe if I remember back, like when you were in it, it was long. It was long and arduous and painful and all that. So I don't know. It's like both. I think it also partly is to do with how much stuff you do. Again, if you just dip into subconscious and you just let your life catch you by, you're not really time's gonna feel short and quick. The funner it is, the quicker it is. Like the quickest times were maybe when you're a kid and you're with your friends. Those times went very quickly, unfortunately. And then you had to go back home, and it was like, and then slow again. But anyway, I don't know. I guess to summarize, it's like, my life is just feeling like an endless loop, and I'm getting older and older and older, and I haven't achieved the things that I wanted. I have achieved a good amount of things, but it almost seems like the things that I've achieved, it's just like I have to clean up a bunch of stuff. I have to fix a bunch of stuff. I have to prepare the field, so to speak. And I'm wondering, like, eventually will I have prepared the field enough to get the things that I want, and then like live the life that I want, right? It's that quote from the manga author who made Kaiji has this quote. It's like people are living their lives and they're wondering, like, my life hasn't started. And then it shows a man who's older, and it's like, my life hasn't started yet, and he's really old now, and now he's dead. And he's in his deathbed, and he says, my life didn't ever start. And it's like, you have to start it. And that's hard, because the counter of that is stability is kind of how you achieve things. If you just go nuts and be like, I'm just going to gamble everything on a shit coin, or I'm just going to go take all my money and bugger off to some other country, or like quit my job and try to start some crazy business, the reality of those things is that they're not going to work. Let's be honest. They're probably not going to work. Maybe if you are fated for those things to work, or maybe life will teach you a really harsh lesson, or maybe you'll get really lucky. I don't know. Probably not. So that's it. It's like you've got these two forces of chaos and stability. Spit roasting, excuse my language, but it is what it is. If you seek stability, your soul will die and you will become bored and hate life. And if you give everything to chaos, you'll become poor. It'll be fun for a little bit. Life will be horrible, and you'll be on the run all the time, and you'll never be able to rest. So within the middle of these, perhaps, is the best you can get of both worlds. And then I think the real problem is that because of the era we're in, it's like life is so slow, so difficult to achieve things. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But just think like the things you do now affect, they span out into the future. You know, today is going to build tomorrow. Tomorrow will build next week. Next week builds next month. Next month builds next year, and so on and so forth. And if you just you need to do the right things when you can. You know, again, I understand how stressed and how difficult it is to find the time and energy and motivation and stamina to do things and to, you know, get bad addictions out of your life. And I get it. I 100% get how hard it is. But you have to just, even if every day you think, I got to do that thing, I got to do that thing, and you keep willing it, eventually you will do it. And you know, even if you're in a horrible place where you know you've got tons of bad addictions, or you just life is horrible and everyone around you is horrible and you hate everything, it's like if you can just try to fix one thing in a month, even if all you can do is fix one thing in a year, and then next year you fix two things, you know, even if like you end up dying because you're so old and all you could do is like will yourself to work on things a little bit, you know, your life, your next life will, I assume, would be better. I assume will be better, right? It's that thing of like, you know, everything exists on this like infinite drawn out line where right now is affecting the infinite line of time, because that infinite line of time, the infinite future, present, and past is this present, so to speak. You know, in an abstract way, of course, right now is right now, but you know, the future will be right now. And right now is just kind of like you being conscious of things, so to speak. It's like right now you're conscious. You can hear this. You can see things, right? You're in your body. You will be in the future conscious, hearing, hopefully seeing in your body. You know, assuming nothing goes wrong, you'll be in the future in this same kind of state, right? Or in a more enhanced, you know, healthier, hopefully, state. Except, hopefully, if you do the right things, you will have the things you want and be the person you want, and the bad things will be over, right? That's what we're trying to go for. And if you do the wrong things, you will be, you know, that's the idea of being in hell. Things being bad, you know, things will be worse, right? Your house will smell worse. It'll be more trashed. Or you won't have a house, maybe. I don't know. I hope this doesn't happen to you. What I'm saying is if you screw things up, right? If you screw your life up, things in the future will be worse. And I won't go into that. So you can probably imagine it, you know, no one around you, eating bad foods, miserable all the time. It's just like that, right? So we have to do what we can in the endless cycle, which is a day, and even in the present moment, you know. So I don't know. Take it for what it is, I guess.